Talking about heirloom seeds. I discovered several years ago when going through family photo albums, I found this. It wasn't even a photo, it was actually a clipping from the Waterville Morning Sentinel, my hometown. And it was like from 1908, 1910, of the Waterville State Fair. There was such a thing at that time. And a clipping of my great-grandmother. They had a farm down in Vassalboro, Maine, in their booth at the fair. And all these really cool things, squashes and potatoes and corns hanging down. It was really neat looking. And I knew just looking at it, I absolutely knew that the chances are that at least 90, if not 99% of the things in that photo are extinct. I thought if I could just step into that photo for a couple of minutes and, hi great-grand, I'm Billy, I'm going to take this and this if you don't mind, and come back, how wonderful, but I can't. This is my own family heritage. This is the link, it's broken forever, and I can never get it back. So the best that I can do is try to find and collect your heritage, or their, whatever heritage other people have. Not everyone has been so foolish as to lose their stuff, and keep it alive. This is such an important part of our culture, of our food culture, is the diversity of plants. And another thing I've always focused on too, in the process of getting varieties and keeping them going, I found there are some crops that I didn't even know existed that are way cool. For example, we've talked a good bit about, I knew about pumpkins and squash. And when we were little kids, Halloween, we'd cut the pumpkin open and scoop the seeds out and toast them, salt them, and eat them. And they were okay, but you couldn't eat too many because they're pretty fibrous, getting your teeth and stuff. Well, I learned about pepitas. And they were in the health food store. And what I didn't know about them was they were a kind of pumpkin that naturally are hulless. You just scoop them out and dry them out, and they're edible like that. You don't have to have some elaborate technology to get them hulless. And there are many varieties of that, and they just taste sensational. So I started looking for varieties of those all over the world and growing them. So oats. I tried growing oats, but the kind of oats you could get were only useful for feeding horses and livestock and stuff, because even when you thresh and hull all the hulls off from them, there's one last remaining pair of hulls, blooms they're technically called, little papery things that stick to it, and without some fairly elaborate technology like Quaker Oats has, you can't, in your own backyard, in your own kitchen, you can't get this edible for human consumption. But I discovered in the process of all this seed saving and exploring a variety, there are types of oats called hulless oats, which technically they're not hulless at all. They have at least as many hulls as the other, but the proper name for them is loose hulled, and they're often called naked hulled, or naked oats. You can thresh them and winnow them just like wheat and rye, and they'll come clean, and you can use them in your own, feed them to your own family. A lot of stuff like that. I kept coming across so many things. There are so many things in my regular garden now, not in my scatter seed project gardens, but in my regular home garden that I would never known about if I hadn't been through Scatter Seed Project. They came in the back door, sort of. So there's another very important reason for you. There's so many things you could be growing in your garden you're not, or superior varieties of something you're now growing that may not be in any seed catalog anywhere. They're somewhere out there, and they would enrich your life and your garden and your market, if you're market oriented, so much. But of course, one of the hitches with those is most of those come from sources that you can't, unlike a seed catalog, they're happy to have you come back next year and the year after. Some of these sources, it's a one-time thing. Get it, keep it going yourself. So the big thing we're talking about tonight is the how-to keep your things going once you have them.